And want to give you a live look at the Capitol right now, the U.S. Capitol building there, as the clock is ticking closer to the likelihood of a government shutdown.
That deadline for a deal is midnight tomorrow. NBC's Alice Barr is live inside the Capitol Rotunda there in D.C. Alice, what's the latest?
Well, it's not looking great, Russ and Christy. I think the reality at this point is that it would take a real Hail Mary to come up with a solution between now and midnight tomorrow night. Now, that doesn't mean that people aren't trying. House Republicans have been holed up in a closed-door meeting trying to come up with that very scenario. A little bit earlier this afternoon, there was a vote where 21 House Republicans, hard-right holdouts, voted against what would have been the best chance to try to get a short-term funding measure sent over from the House to the Senate. And those holdouts have objected, even though this provision included some border policy, conservative policy provisions, spending cuts. They have said they don't want to vote for any kind of short-term spending measure. They want to get this all done and enact long-term spending cuts. So that's where things stand in the House right now. They're going back and forth trying to come up with something that they can advance. On the Senate side, there was an effort not too long ago from Republican Senator Ron Johnson to try to get just a 2-week clean extension of government funding passed, but that was objected to because of the idea that 2 weeks wasn't enough to actually come up with a true solution. So the Senate has another measure in the works that would extend government funding until the middle of November, but that includes money for Ukraine, which is a no-go back on the House side. You're getting at what I'm talking about here. Anything that might pass the Senate is not going to pass the House. We appear destined for a shutdown and then the scramble to try to get out of it as quickly as possible. Russ and Christy.
All right, Alice Barr in Washington, thanks for bringing us up to date. We appreciate it. So our team coverage continues with Monica Robbins now.
Monica, we've been talking about this. How will this impact seniors and veterans?
Yeah, a lot of people want to know that. So here's what you need to know. Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and Social Security benefits remain unaffected because they are funded separately. Veteran benefits would also continue, including health care. However, the Department of Health and Human Services expects to furlough 58% of workers. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services plans to furlough half of its workforce. While those who keep the cash flowing to states will go to work without pay, it's likely there will be a temporary pause in new Medicare enrollment and Medicaid approval. Also, states will have difficulty getting technical help from many of these agencies as well.
Again, looking at the big picture, who will be impacted the most by this?
You know, I think it's the 7 million women and children who depend on the federal food assistance program known as WIC. The White House says those women may be turned away at grocery stores once leftover state funding runs out, which could happen in a matter of days. Now, in Ohio, that's just over 179,000 people. Those who rely on SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, they should be okay until the end of October. Hopefully a shutdown won't last that long, but in 2019, you might recall, it went 34 days. And also keep in mind, on October 1st, SNAP benefits actually go up too.
Yeah, so I've heard people ask this question, and I know it's a popular question. I don't know about the answer, but does Congress get paid during this time?
I'm pretty sure it's not a popular answer, but yeah, they do actually. So Article 1, Section 6 of the U.S. Constitution states the senators and representatives shall receive compensation for their services to be ascertained by law and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. What's all that mean? It means they get paid whether or not other parts of the government are funded. So they will keep getting their paychecks even if they haven't reached a deal. And in case you're wondering, yes, the president gets paid too. The Constitution prohibits reducing the president's salary while in office. However, his staff members, considered non-essential, well, they could very well be furloughed and likely will.
Okay, so those folks are going to get paid. What about federal retirees who depend on those benefit checks?
Yeah, I think those folks are watching very, very carefully. So retirees in civil service retirement system and the federal employees retirement system, they will still receive their payments, but contributions to the thrift savings plan will be paused until the government reopens.
I think this is called a hot mess.
It is
in
a
some
hot
circles.
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the definition right now.
Wow. Monica, thank you.
Thanks,
Sure.
Mom.